Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to my channel. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you do so. I'm here today with my baby.
Hello.
Today is a furnished tour of my boy's apartment. But I wanted to hop on here, and this is why I have hubby with me to assist me in this. I wanted to hop on here and basically give a testimony about, God's blessings and how he basically just, elevated our lives and how we're just living a really blessed life. And he's just so amazing. All of our heart's desires he just gives to us, and I'm so grateful. And I wanted to do this to kind of inspire anyone who's like in a standstill in their life. You might be in a place where you don't see things coming the way that you want it to go, right? You don't see any sign of anything changing, and this is for you. I want to encourage you to keep going. There are so many things that God is working on right now that you can't see, and it may seem like you're stuck. Hold on. God is working for things in your favor. Okay, so yeah, we're just going to give a backstory. Basically, we were living in a 3-bedroom twin. We were renting. It was okay with first child, or first 2 children.
Popcorn in my mouth.
With the first 2 kids, we moved in there. We moved in there with 2 babies.
Which was fine because
totally
it was a 2-bedroom. I mean, it was a 3-bedroom. So we had, a good amount of space. Then we had another, and then we were on to having our 4th.
Which is a blessing in itself because it was our princess. So, one day I'll share that little story. But that was like
a huge blessing. Yeah,
definitely. A huge blessing.
Yeah, so we were like, okay, it's time to start looking for a house. So we started. We got a realtor, found some prospects, some good houses to get the ball rolling with. But it just didn't work out. There's some issues with the areas we were looking in, and it didn't work out. And long story short, I got saved, and that changed the trajectory of everything. As far as our attitude towards finding a house and having the motivation came after that. I had been on my own for a while, not really relying on my family for support. So when I got saved, it kind of was like a revelation. Okay, I have this support system. I have God. I have God on my side, so we can do anything. Basically, I was like, okay, yeah, let's do this. And so we got the process started all over again. I got a new Christian realtor this time. She was awesome, and part of our church journey was learning about faith. I mean, my wife, she was already she already had been saved for years at that point. But it was new to me, believing in things and believing that God will fulfill your dreams. So for me, I was like, okay, I have, God, working for me, so we can definitely get this done. And, we were learning how, when you have faith in something, you just move. You start moving. You act as though you already have what you're, believing in. So we started packing.
Yeah.
We started packing the whole house. Like from that point where we decided we were going to look for this house, before we really got into it, we kept packing the whole time, through the whole process, through all the ups and downs.
Yeah, we were packing and we were leaving. We were moving by what we believed in, not by what we saw. And we had boxes in our living room on and off for years. The boys were telling all of their classmates that they were moving, and that kind of takes, its own toll on you yourself, because you're sitting there and you're saying, we're moving, and you're speaking it, positivity, and you're speaking it into existence, and you're believing in it. And people are looking at you like you are crazy. So for teenagers, when they're telling their friends, hey, we're moving and all this stuff, there comes a point when it's like, they don't see anything and they're like, why are you lying? Why are you, you know what I mean? And stuff like that. So it was hard for them. But I knew deep down inside that we, you know, God placed the dream of us being homeowners and being able to provide for our kids in that way. You know, I believe that he wanted that for us. So, but it was heart-wrenching to kind of see the toll that it took on them. And I'm also proud of them because of their faith, and they kept it moving.
You know, I had been at the job that I was at the time for going on 10 years. And it was kind of like a dead end kind of a position. There wasn't really where to go from there. So looking back, you know, at the time, I guess I didn't really realize everything that was happening. But looking back, I realized that God was actually putting his plan into motion by doing some things that were hard for us to get through. I had an injury that I actually sustained at church. It was like a big, you know, I actually tore my what's it called, my Achilles tendon. And so I was, you know, at home, not able to go into work as much as I usually do. And that might have trickled down to the reason to why I got laid off. So, you know, I got laid off. I was out of work for over a year, and it was a struggle. But at the end of it all, you know, God elevated us. I got a better job, better income, and that income kept going up every year. It's really good, you know, much better position that we're in now. And that was all, you know, I feel like that was all God taking us from, you know, we were on this path that was without God's help. And then as soon as I got saved and we started, you know, he redirected us to the path that I feel like we would have been on if we had been, you know, on the right path and from the gate. So, you know, he just kind of shifted us all to where we should be, or where he wanted us to be, you know, by his generosity, you know, because he's a good God. That's what he does. Yeah. So we had to go through all that. And then, you know, I ended up with a better job. And then, you know, and around that time where I got the job, that's when we started looking for a house again, you know, and leaning on God, you know, during the process. So I found a Christian realtor, and, you know, she is super sweet and, you know, helping us. Yeah, it's a huge blessing, and teaching us, you know, we have no idea what we're doing at this point. Right? She's teaching us everything. You know, Rhea was doing crazy research online, and I was like asking her, like, okay, what does this mean? You know, so she was awesome. We went out, saw maybe 3 houses, I think, the first time we went out. We went into, you know, get the ball rolling with, I think it was the 3rd house that we liked the most. And then I had some issues with my credit that, you know, at that point we found out, you know, you go in, you get pre-approved. And then when you actually find the house, I guess for us, that's how it was. It's not always that case. But then we actually found the house and started to run it a little more officially, you know, then things came up on my credit and we had to work on that. So we ended up hiring someone to work on my credit. And, you know, it was all like a year process, I guess, before we really got back into, you know, looking for houses and, you know, trying to close on a house. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's when God like really shifted in our lives. I remember one of my best friends was visiting with me, and hubby wanted a new car. And like, I'm thinking, can we even do that or whatever? But I was like telling her, I was like, I think, you know, I'm gonna get we're thinking about looking for a car tomorrow. She's like, oh yeah, you're gonna get your car. I'm like, yeah, we're gonna go get a car tomorrow. And then we went to the dealership the next day and we got a car. And then that's kind of when it kind of like, we like, you know, targeted in on like claiming it, like really like. Also, I think, I'm not sure if you feel this way, but I feel like it's who you speak to as well, because you can be speaking to someone who doesn't believe. And saying, you know, what you believe for yourself. Sometimes you need to like kind of watch what you say to certain people. We were kind of like, you know, door always open kind of people, like friendly with everyone, telling everyone, oh, we're doing this, we're doing that. Like I kind of learned is you have to be careful with that. And, you know, it's good to speak things into existence. It's good to believe in them and shout your faith and all of that. But also I feel like you need to keep certain things sacred. And also beef up, like beef up your people, like your circle, like make sure, like soldier up, you know what I mean? Like you know, if you're in the hood or you're wherever, right, you're gonna be rocking with people who you know are gonna have your back. So like we're soldiers for God, so like, you know what I mean? So like you want to have your circle be, you know, on the same level as you are, or even more above, and be strong believers. And, you know, and my best friend, she will always speak things like, you're going to get it, you're going to get a house, you know. And yeah, and even like everyone we loved, like, you know, all the people that were in our circle and our loved ones and family and stuff, they were getting houses, they were moving. And we've been wanting and believing in this way, like for years, you know what I mean? And then seeing them get it, there was no ounce of like, they got it. It was like, we were so really like grateful and happy for them. And I knew that if God was blessing them, it was just a matter of time, and we just need to, you know, stay, you know, on task and keep our faith and everything. Yeah,
you're right. We found one that we liked. Actually, right? Yeah. Was it one or more than one?
It was one that we made an offer on.
That's right.
We actually made a formal offer on.
Yep. And then that one, I forget. They just didn't. They said no. I think, right?
Right. We sent it with a letter. Our realtor told us to write a letter, so we did. And yeah, they turned us down.
Yeah, they turned us down. And you know, we kept through the whole, you know, situation through that, and from the credit situation, we were still packing. You know, we were still getting ready to go, still telling everybody we were moving. And so, you know, that one didn't work out. You know, we were like, okay, that's not the house for us.
Right.
Let's move on to the next one. So we kept looking. At this point, it's COVID, so our realtor was going to the houses for us, and just, you know, video chatting with us so we could, you know, check out the houses.
So after we make an offer on a house and we wrote a letter, they said no. But we kept going. We're like, okay, next. So we're just going through houses. Let's see. And just ready to make an offer on anything. And then we were finally like, I think my husband showed me a house, and I was like, I like that. It's nice. We saw it. We didn't see it. We saw the pictures online, and we were like, oh, cool. That's cool. Let's ask her about it. So at this point, we're just sending houses or responding to houses between our realtor and our lender and saying, hey, is this going to do? Is this going to work out? Do the numbers match and all that type of stuff, right? So then, you know, we came to our realtor and told her we wanted to make an offer.
So, sorry, I'm out of it.
You want me to continue?
You can get. I'm gonna take a drink. I'm sorry.
It's gonna be heck to edit. Okay, so we let her know that we wanted to make an offer on the house. And she, you know, was surprised we wanted to make it without seeing it. She didn't even do a tour or anything like that. So we went ahead and we did that. Then after that, they accepted the offer. Now, we offered more than the asking price because we were also asking for seller's assist. That's when you can ask the owners to basically pay for the closing costs. So all you have to do is worry about the deposit. Because we were asking for that, I'm like, okay, well, let's give them more than what they are asking for. What?
I just had the giggles. I don't know.
All right, anyway, so moving on to that part. So we asked them, thank you. So then we made the offer. We offered them more money, and they were like, okay, cool. They accepted the offer. They said that their main concern was that they just walk away with the asking price. Boy, you know what? I'm gonna have to have him leave. He's gonna have to leave so I can finish this.
Can you leave?
No, I want you to get it together. All right, so yeah. So they were, where was I? So they were basically like, all we care about really is just walking away with what we feel like it's worth, our asking price. So, and they were worried that it wasn't going to appraise for what we were, the offer we had made for the amount that we had offered. So then after that, I'm guessing you don't want to pick up, so I'll just finish this. And so, yeah, so then, a week. So when we made the offer, we had requested the closing date like to be months. Because we heard horror stories about everything. So we were like, we're going to be smart with this. And we're going to go ahead and set this out like 2-3 months out so that everything can be done. So we were making an offer around like November, and the closing was supposed to be the end of February. But the weather wasn't great, and the appraisal got pushed back until like the week before closing. So the week before closing, the appraisal comes back, and they basically are like, it did not appraise. It didn't appraise for our, for the amount that we offered. And they weren't surprised with that, but it didn't even appraise for their asking price. So when you're doing an FHA, they won't allow you to get the house if it doesn't appraise for the amount. They're not gonna, you know what I mean, do that. So that was against the regulations. So needless to say, the owners were not too happy about that. And they weren't sure that they wanted to move on. So we were kind of waiting to see what would happen. And we were praying and everything like that. And then our realtor calls, and I'll never forget, hubby was downstairs packing up the basement, unpacking the dining room, and listening to my praise and worship. And my boys are packing and everything. And she calls, and we run upstairs, to go to the bathroom to hide from the boys to see, what it is that she said, believing for good news. And she basically dropped the bomb, and so sweet. I'm so sorry, guys. It's not looking good. As of now, it's a no. And she's like, I'm sorry, we could get back on it. And we had already been going back and forth with her and the lender and sending houses. Even when we weren't necessarily making offers, we were like sending houses. Oh, let's do this one. You want to do this one? What do the numbers look like for this? And da 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 da. So it was like just like crushing.
Yeah.
It was so crushing.
Yeah, it was. So I just it was kind of like a conscious decision for me to just ignore it and, and still believe that it was possible. Did you mention she suggested to write a letter?
Not yet.
Okay, right. So she suggested our realtor suggested to write a letter to kind of, persuade them. And I was like, great, let's do that. We decided to do that, and, got off the phone. I just went right back to packing. And
you told me to. I said, what do we do?
I told you to write the letter, right?
Yeah. I said, what do we do? Write the letter.
Yeah, right.
I said, but do we keep packing? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Keep going. I'm like, all right, bet. Let's keep going. And the kid's like, what's going on? He's like, nothing.
Right. Yeah. Oh, right. We didn't even tell them.
No, you were like, nothing. And they're like, are we going to get that? And they're like, no, yes, fine. Keep packing. Let's go.
Yep.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. So I wrote a letter, and we kept packing.
Yep. I don't know how long it took to hear back.
It was like the weekend.
Yeah, right. Like 3 days, 2 or 3 days.
Our beautiful realtor.
Yeah, she called us back and they said yes. And we were freaking out.
Excited.
Yes, they said yes. And
they said
we
yes.
were jumping. We were running around the house.
Screaming crazy.
Yeah, so it was a great moment for us, to have our faith realized like that.
Yes.
Was, just a huge, we were like, thank God.
And I believe it was the day that we were supposed to close that we heard the yes.
Right.
I believe it was on a Monday or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So then we just filed, it went into the next, to the end of the week.
We had to change the date.
And that was fine now.
Yeah, that was fine. We were fine with that. And so that's the end of our journey, right?
The house journey, yeah.
Yeah, we finished the house.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's not, it's not about just about the house, because material things, they don't mean anything. You have to fix your eyes on Jesus, look up, because that's what matters.
Yeah, that was, sorry, give me that.
No, yeah.
But yeah, that was, the house that whole experience for me, for us, is just something to look back on every time we need something. Every time we're faced with something that's important in our lives. We know that God has us. And how do we know that? Well, look at this house.
Yeah.
How do we know that? We have that's just one example. We have other ones, but that's a big example for us to draw from, and to trust in God for the things that He puts in our heart.
Yeah. It's so common that we just kind of like tap in when something's wrong. Like, dear God, please, I need you right now. Can you just help me? I need a job. And when you're in that moment of despair and you're just bargaining with Him and you're praying and you're crying, I promise I'll like, I need this job. I need my, family. I need, I want to have a baby. I need a house. We can't pay the rent, whatever that may be, and then we get it. Then what is it? Oh God, I gotta go to work.
Yeah, right.
Oh, I got a clean house. No, thank God you have a house to clean. Yeah. Thank God I have a job. This is the job I prayed for. Why am I complaining about it? You know what I mean? It's just so amazing. And I think it's important for us as Christians to, share our testimony, share our struggles and our wins and everything, just to kind of like, normalize, the gratefulness. And now we're in a position too. It just was like a ripple effect, like everything just kind of fell into place, because I did a vision board and I actually wrote an address down for a house that I wanted, and it was for rent. And I wanted to eventually buy it, whatever. Like, God's like, oh, that you want that, honey? I got something. Laughing at me probably. But it was this house and I wanted it. I wrote everything down. And I kind of was like, nothing on my vision board is like happening. And what was on my vision board was the other house, and my son graduating early, because I had I'll share his early graduation story and everything. But I had started homeschooling, so he was younger than my oldest, so he kind of just was like on the same level as him. So you know what I mean. So throughout homeschooling him, he was always above where he was supposed to be. So I was believing in him graduating early and them going to college together. So once this house came, then he got like, he was able to graduate early.
Right.
Now he's in school with his brother. They're together in their own apartment, and that's what this video is for. So see how that, something, it starts, and then it like, what are you gonna do with it? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? What are you gonna do with him putting you in these positions? And it's just I'm not even sure if I'm making any sense right now, but
yeah. The Bible says, no man has ever seen or heard the good things that I have in my plans for you. And, we see that, we've seen that, in many, me getting a job, us getting this house, our son graduating early, them having an apartment together at the same college, which is a great college. Like we now get to see those things, that he had planned for us. And, the Bible also says that he'll increase you. I forget the verse for that one, but we're seeing that. We're seeing good things every year, and every year it just keeps getting better and better, and, it's not to be said that, it's not to say that we don't have problems. Right. We have plenty of problems. Right. But God's working, and we can see him working those problems out. And the Bible says that, the rain's going to fall. So like, you're going to have problems, whether you are, a person of faith or you're not a person of faith. It's still the rain's still going to fall on you. But when you build your house, on the rock, which is Jesus, then your house is still going to stand, even after that storm and that rain falls. It's just great to get to see that and to testify, about it, to others. It's a blessing.
Yeah. And just to be able to be a blessing to others. And if anyone, I can take care of my mom. If someone needs a place to stay, we got them. You know what I mean? Just to be able to be, lenders and not borrowers or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So we're not perfect, our life's not perfect, the house isn't perfect. I'll say hi. And this is our little blessing. We've been wanting a little girl from like forever, and he blessed us with her, and he's just so amazing. And again, just like I said in the beginning, I just want to encourage you to keep the faith, and you know, there's light on the other side. You know, I know things can be difficult and it can seem like it won't happen, but I promise you, keep holding faith, it will happen, and he'll be there for you. And he's just an amazing God. And yeah, make sure you subscribe and you want to see more of us and hear more about our testimonies and our life and what we do with the house and the boys' journey into their apartment. So this is their first year in their apartment. So we didn't do everything exactly the way that we wanted to do it. Of course, when they go back this fall for school, we'll be able to, you know, do more of what we wanted to do. So that's going to be fun: shopping, organizing, pantry stuff, all of that fun, cool stuff. And most importantly, like, you know, encouragement and testimonies, because I really want to be able to give back to God and help anybody in any way that I can. All right, so enjoy the little tour. Tell them to subscribe and give a thumbs up.
Subscribe and give a thumbs up.